Hi there, right, my name's Andy. I'm sailing coach and a laser sailor, and I fix boats as well. So today what I want to have a quick look at is how to set up and rig a 6-to-1 downhaul on a laser. You can get an 8-to-1. Personally I prefer the 6-to-1, but that's because I sail a radial and an old standard sail. But I'll talk about the pros and cons towards the end. Right, so what you need for a 6-to-1 downhaul is we've got 3 bits of rope here. I've got a 4mm bit of pre-stretched cord, and then we've got 2 bits of dyneema and then 2 blocks. So the first block that I'm going to look at is this one here. It's just got a loop, and this bit and just pop over the mast base. Right, and that goes just below the kicker. If you've got a bit of tape handy, just taping that in place is quite useful. What I'm going to do now is just put the sail on the mast, pop it in the boat, and I'll come back to you in a second. So sail is up now, and we've got that first bit of rope just here with 1 block. Okay, now for the second bit of rope. So next one I'm going to use is this one just there. So this is a length of dyneema, about 5 or 6mm, with a block spliced on the end. I've spliced it, but that's just because I like it looking neat. You can tie it, it's fine, it's not a problem. Now this block goes through, or the end of the rope goes through the sail. So that should be there, and then the bottom end, attaching it to the kicker tang just here. Right, so back to that line. Now this is on, I've attached it around bottom of the kicker tang, then pop the kicker block on. That comes all the way up through the sail, and this block, you want it as close to the eye as is reasonably possible. This is a bit of an old stretch sail. On my newer sail it's a little bit closer, but that is really key. This is your primary line. You want low stretch dyneema, and it's got to be up here just to give it maximum travel possible. Right, on to the next line. I'm going to rig this up and then show you what it looks like. Right, so the secondary line, it's attached to this block, bowline through the middle. I'm going to take this down, comes down through this block here, back up again, through that block, and then back down, and that gives us a 3-to-1 there. Comes through here, that's the 2-to-1, so 3 times 2, that's your 6-to-1 purchase. Okay, right, I'll just finish threading that, then come back to you. And there's the downhaul in its entirety. So we've got lots of travel from there down to there, comes through this block, back to the cleat, and I've just tied a simple bowline. When the downhaul's off, that is going to be right next to the cleat, which means it's got maximum sort of travel. It's easy to pull it on without ending up with too much rope in the boat. And if I just put my foot there, you can see that is quite easy to pull the eye right down to the boom. In stronger winds you can rig this so both ropes, this primary line, go down the same side of the boom. You can pull on even more than that. Okay, there we go. So why I use a 6-to-1, there is greater purchase with an 8-to-1 available. Issues I find with that is actually it's quite difficult to rig up with adequate travel here. So if I pull on a lot of downhaul, you see already starting to run out of travel here, and actually in strong winds I want to get a little bit more on. With 8-to-1 it's even harder. Really easy to run out of travel, so this rope needs to be really short your primary line needs to be just the right length. It's quite difficult to set up. It's probably better to have a 6-to-1 with the full travel than a badly set up 8-to-1 where you can't actually, you can pull it on easily but you can't pull on enough. The other reason I quite like the 6-to-1, or for me, is you can see the amount of rope in the boat there. With an 8-to-1, that's even more. Why you might need an 8-to-1, if you're not super strong sailing a radial, if you've got a Mark II standard sail, the material's a bit heavier, it's harder to pull the downhaul on. So that's when the 8-to-1 really comes into its own. I think if you're strong enough in a radial, or you've got an old knackered standard like myself, then use that. If you're sailing a 4.7, they're very flat cut sails and don't need a huge amount of downhaul anyway, so you're probably better off with a 6-to-1. Ultimately, though, it's just personal choice. But whatever you get, spend some time setting your downhaul up really well. Make sure it runs really smoothly. This rope here has definitely got to be the correct length, and this rope here, if it's not running, this gets worn out, it doesn't run as well, buy some new rope. It's about 2.5 meters, only costs a few quid. Right, so that is 6-to-1 on a laser downhaul. Hopefully you find that useful.